are live, you are live.
Good morning, good morning. We're having a fast start today to the sunrise safari here in the Kruger National Park, western fringes thereof, Djuma Private Game Reserve. Reports of wild dogs heading this way from the property to our eastern side, that's called Torchwood, heading this way. Still quite dark, of course, so nobody's following them, but we need to get across there as fast as possible. Brent will probably go across to the north, and I'm going to go across to the south. My name is James Henry, on camera is Tebbs today. It's a cool and blustery morning. Louise is in the final control, sheltering from the wind, but flying solo as she has done for the last few days. Brent and Andrew on the other car, and they'll be heading along the northern boundary, hopefully to the east. And with any luck, we'll have wild dogs to show you very soon. Whoops. We are on a live safari, as you can see, unfiltered and unfettered. So please talk to us on Twitter, #SafariLive, if you want to talk to us like these creaking parts of the vehicle I'm driving, or questions at WildEarthTV if you're on the email and haven't extended to using Twitter yet. Right, we're now on the very far southern boundary. I originally was coming this way because I thought I heard lions. Well, I actually did hear lions early this morning, and deep inside me I know that they are well south of the property, but I thought, let me come here and look anyway. I don't know what a lion looks like anymore. I haven't found any tracks, so I think they are deep south. With any luck, we'll find some wild dogs coming this way. Along we go. We're now on the southern boundary, heading due east. Reports of the dogs were that there's a road called Cheetah Cut Line, which is our eastern boundary, and tracks heading towards that, dogs heading towards that early this morning. I'm just going to contact Aubrey on the radio and tell him what's happening. Morning, Aubrey. 2 stations mobile from Wild Earth, one going north, one going south towards Cheetah Cut Line. And apparently reports of wild dogs going west from Torchwood campus. There we go. And we are in contact, of course, with the other game drives. I'm just listening to Aubrey now. Right. Nothing of any interest, he's just getting mobile. And of course, as everybody gets mobile, we're all normally out first at Wild Earth, because we don't have to get people out of bed, feed them coffee and then put them on the back of the Land Rover, and so they all start to get mobile now. Of course, one of the things about coming on a safari holiday is that although you're supposed to be on holiday, it's the only holiday in the world where people will wake you up at 4:30 in the morning and make you get out of bed. What have you got? Tebbs has spotted the dogs. You saw the dogs? Yeah. Well, I'm busy. Fortunately, we're not. Eh? They're killing. They're eating. They're eating. But unfortunately, they're just off our reserve. There they are. They're just over here. There. They're coming again. They've just killed an impala. I have to stop here, everybody. I can't go further than I am now. Oh, this is incredible. The 2 adults are killing. 3 adults are killing. It's a baby impala. But I have to call this in. Stations 3 adult wild dog at junction Gari Main, Cheetah Cut Line, eastern side of that junction. They've just killed it, looks like a baby impala. Animals are static feeding. Oh, this is fantastic. Isn't that amazing? Affirmative, I am live now, so I can't give more direction. They are on Gari Main, junction Cheetah Cut Line, static. So we can't unfortunately go further east than we are, and they are on the eastern side of the road, but this is unbelievable. Isn't this incredible? So they've just caught this thing right now. And this is a very kind of calm feeding that they're doing now. Unusually calm, and it's because it's the pack of only 3 adults. I don't know where the pups are, unless the pups have killed somewhere else. But they're making that twittering noise. There we go. Isn't that just amazing? We got here as they killed it, and they kill so fast. Probably now thinking about trying to carry them off to the pups. I just need to get my binoculars out so I can see if there are any pups here. These are just the adults. I'm pretty sure these are just the 3 adults from what is known as the Investic pack. But where are the puppies? The puppies will have almost started to move now with the rest of the pack. The pups were born in June, which makes them 6 months old. Oh, this is just fantastic. Well spotted, Tibbs. Jenny M, absolutely. What a brilliant start to a day. How fantastic. And it almost feels sedate. You know, these dogs are not in that frenzy. I think it's because it's just the 3 of them. But where have they left the pups? So let's watch them here. With any luck, the pups, they've left just to the west of where we are now, and maybe they're still on Djuma. Sorry, Tibbs, I can't. I'm already slightly trespassing, so I can't go any further than this. We're in a grey area, so I can't be in trouble, but I certainly can't go any further than I am now. Yeah, this is just amazing. Look at this. Yeah, now, Diana Ray, you're absolutely right. You say that the speed at which these wild dogs devour a kill reminds you of piranhas. It's very similar. They killed that thing just as we got here. And it's already pretty much finished. And that's only 3 dogs. Can you imagine a big pack? And this is what they do day after day, morning after morning. One's just looking this way. Yes, and Shamrock, you're absolutely correct. Tebbs is a spotting superhero. He pulled off some amazing leopard spots 2 days ago, and that's not all. We are on a fairly main road, as you can see, and that'll be some guests going out to the airport or something like that. Just incredible stuff. You can see the telegraph poles. And they're looking around all the time, of course, because often a kill does have some noise associated with it, and that will attract the attentions of hyenas, which will come and steal from the wild dogs at every available opportunity. They seem to have got away with their kill. Now, for those of you who've seen these wild dogs for the first time, and I think there probably are 1 or 2 of you, this is Africa's 2nd most endangered carnivore. The other is a very sort of nondescript small jackal that comes from the Ethiopian highlands. That's the most endangered. But this, to me, is the most magnificent animal we have here. This is Africa's wolf. It runs exactly the same as a wolf pack runs, with an alpha male and female that lead the pack. And they've got 11 pups. This is a very small pack, just 3 adults. And those 11 pups are just not quite old enough, obviously, to be hunting yet with the pack. They are moving with the pack, but they're certainly obviously not hunting at the moment. So what these 3 will do is devour this young impala. Then they will go and find the pups again, and they will regurgitate a lot of what they've eaten so that the pups can feed. They have a tremendously egalitarian society, which of course is very distinct from all the other predators in this area. Lions and hyenas will fight over their food. They will never share willingly, whereas wild dogs are completely different, and much like a wolf pack in that way. They might even think about killing again, you know, just because they've got all those hungry mouths to feed. Very, very lucky to have seen this. What a start to the morning. And it's incredible all around. I mean, obviously there's been tremendous trauma for that little impala. Well, it would have died almost instantaneously. But all around, but for this little patch of feeding painted wolves, there is complete calm. The birds are doing their normal morning chorus, and the world is continuing. I always find that slightly incongruous. You just have this tremendous drama of a kill, and yet all around the world is just continuing like it always has. Beautiful stuff. If you are perhaps a sensitive viewer, oh dear, I think I turned my radio down. No, I didn't. If you are a sensitive viewer, I'm sorry about the gore, but that is of course just nature. And these are incredibly efficient hunters, and while often it does look like it's a bit gruesome with wild dogs, I think often, or most of the time, the animal goes into complete shock, and the prey animal goes into complete shock and doesn't actually feel a thing. And just on that sort of discussion of shock and how fast the animals kill, these dogs kill, you want to know, does it take an adult lion less or more time than a wild dog? Jenny, it really depends entirely on the size of the prey. And adult lions will take a while to kill, say, a big buffalo, and I think that's possibly, I think all animals go into shock when they're being killed. I think, though, that certainly lions will take a while to kill a buffalo, and these wild dogs would have killed the impala almost immediately. And I think there's very little pain felt because of the shock and the adrenaline. But certainly with lions and big prey items, it tends to take a bit longer. And although wild dogs look a bit more gruesome, it certainly isn't the case that they are more vicious or more unkind. That's Aubrey arriving. Ooh, look at that. Look at that. Thinking about going again. Gail in Rhode Island, you want to know if they will eat the bones like the hyena. Gail, they will, but just smaller bones. They won't eat bones nearly the same size as the hyena, because they can't, they don't have anything like the jaws that a hyena has. People, this might be the last we see of them, I'm afraid. But what a start it's been. I'm going to follow them along the road. Let me just see if they move or not. Disappearing into Torchwood. I'm afraid they're going straight east into Torchwood. So Aubrey can follow them because he's lucky that way. Great speed, in the same way that the Monaco Grand Prix is synonymous with speed. So there's the last one there. The other two have headed off east, I'm afraid. But he's come down, Brent has come down this road, I'm assuming, unfortunately, that the pups have been left inside Torchwood as opposed to along here. And there they go. They look like they're going to hunt again. I can see two flashes of white tail going through there, and just because they've got all those hungry mouths to eat, I think they may try and kill again. Well, I think we'll lurk around on...
Good morning, my name is Brent.Geo Smith, and we're on Safari Live, and I'm a bit late to the party this morning, and the dogs you've seen with James have already made a kill. They're unfortunately now mobile away from our eastern boundary. You still got them, Andrew?
No.
And I think they're heading back towards the puppies. It might be worth patrolling up and down this road, the whole drive, just in case they reappear. But so exciting to find dogs first thing in the morning. I'm very jealous of James. I did do some low flying to get here as soon as possible, and all we managed to get was a brief view of the dog as it disappeared east. And there comes James. I can't see the dogs anymore. I don't know if James can.
Oh well.
Oh well.
Miserable pity.
Yes, very miserable pity. Oh, well done.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello everybody again. I think you just saw me from a different angle down there. We're going to keep on up here. I don't know where they left the pups. Probably back inside towards them, but they were heading this way. Maybe they'll come back.
Well, if there are any trucks between Central and here, I may have driven over them at high speed to get you. Yes.
Okay.
Well, I'll go that way then.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
Okay. See you later.
Tebs,
Goodbye.
why are you looking like a gangster this morning? There we go. Tebs says gangster love. Generally, our cameramen wear buffs to avoid flies. At this time of the morning, there are no flies. Maybe it's the fact that it's quite chilly. Andrew was complaining profusely while I was doing some high-speed driving to get towards these wild dogs. Andrew even said I should put on my big jacket, not just wear my little jersey, although this little jersey is very, very warm. But I might use my big jacket across my knees. So that is an incredible start to the morning. I think I'm going to go look for Karula now. The likelihood of her being on the kill is almost zero. Don't think there was much food left there. I have a sneaking suspicion she went towards the treehouse waterhole to quench her thirst after filling her belly with steenbok. Of course, I shall be driving at a speed that I'm able to see tracks now, not racing like Lewis Hamilton through the bush. A very good morning to the family Steinberg in New Jersey. They would like to know why we are not allowed to follow those dogs further to the east. So, where we are in the Sabi-San Game Reserve, it is private property, and the reason we cannot continue on is because we do not have a traverse agreement with that property, and it is private land, and discretion is at the landowner. So, for whatever reason it may be, we cannot go there. Of course, we would love to go there, but we can't. It is private property. And if we crossed that boundary, it would be the same as if some naughty person decided to climb into your backyard and swim in your swimming pool without permission. The wonderful thing is that these boundaries, although as humans we have to stop, the animals have this 8 million hectare wonderland that they are able to traverse through, and they have no understanding of human boundaries. Unfortunately, we do have to adhere to them though. have a new viewer from this morning whose name is J-Rad Mazzola, and he says, is this really live? Well, J-Rad, I'm answering you, so yes it is. And this is a live African safari. If there are any other new viewers who are joining for the first time with J-Rad, and we are in search of all sorts of wonderful African wildlife. We have a big aerial behind us that enables us to send a signal to something, else that sends a signal to you. Of course, I little of animals, a leopard or two. Certain areas have some signal gremlins, so when we dip through our signal appears. I have no idea how the vehicle sends it to another aerial, a satellite dish that sends it, I think, to Dubai, which then sends it to the US, something like that. I don't know about how those things work. I just concentrate on finding animals. So there are some of the wild dogs' favorite foods. Quite lucky the wild dogs didn't get this far this morning. Little impala, group of impala rams. So you've enjoyed a splendid start to the Sunrise Safari with James and those wild dogs feeding off an impala lamb. Thelma, who's in the Great Lakes districts of Michigan, is wondering what happens if the alpha female dies, because there are only 3 adults in that pack. Will they take another alpha from within the pack, or do they go looking for another pack? Well, Thelma, it's a very interesting pack, and they exhibit some behavior that is not commonly seen in wild dogs, being such a small pack and doing such a good job raising 11 children at the same time. By this time, normally they would have lost, most wild dog packs would have lost a lot more. So, and from the adults, there are 2 males and 1 female. So if the alpha female died, I'm afraid to say it would probably be the end of the pack. How wild dogs form new packs or create new genetic lines is you have a dispersal. Normally, in about 70% of the cases, the dispersal animals will be female, and they will normally leave in groups of 2. Occasionally you do have dispersal males as well, and they would then, the females would then normally join another pack like this, and then take the next spot, because wild dogs, specifically in this area, are not very long lived. Your average adult dog lives for no longer than about 5 or 6 years. But so if the alpha female did die, it would be actually a very, very, very big problem for this pack, and the likelihood of survival would decrease significantly. Okay, so we're getting close to the treehouse waterhole. I'm starting to look very carefully for tracks of Queen Karula. We will go check where she had the kill, although I'm 90% sure she's not going to be there. it seems like it's a morning for new viewers, or maybe viewers that are new to asking questions. So, good morning to Wolf-Kissed Chick. She would like to know whether we see striped hyena often. Not at all, I'm afraid. Striped hyena do not occur in southern Africa. We have two species of hyena that do occur in southern Africa. It's a spotted hyena, which is our main hyena species in this area, and the brown hyena. So brown hyena in this area are very, very, very rare due to the fact that there's a very high population of spotties, or spotted hyena. Striped hyena, however, the furthest south they occur is the southern Serengeti in Tanzania, which is a good 1,000 kilometers plus, actually more, about 3,000 kilometers from where we are now. I have fortunately seen them in the bush in Tanzania. Striped hyena are quite a bit smaller than our hyena species and have slightly different sort of game plans. They are more individual foragers, whereas sometimes the spotted hyena will forage in groups. Now, I was half hoping to find Karula the Queen just lounging around this area where there's some water. It does not look to be true, but we're going to go check for tracks. So this is the closest and only water in this area. And, oh, pygmy kingfisher, Andrew. You got it?
Negative.
Okay, see this little knobthorn?
Yeah.
Closest to us, there's a bright spot of colour in it. And that would be a pygmy kingfisher. You found it?
No.
Okay. So let's go to the base of the tree.
Yes.
Where all the warthogs have been rubbing the mud.
Yes.
Okay, so go up to the first fork.
Yes.
Take the left-hand fork. And go, oh, he's flying right back towards, right next to us. Oh, he's just drinking, and there he goes.
So small.
So small. And Andrew, so slow. Don't worry, when we're off air, I will get a nice whippy stick, probably from a round leaf teak, and beat Andrew for not being able to show you that pygmy kingfisher. So here's the only water in the area, and this water has been excavated by elephants. They have dug down below the water table and caused these little two holes to seep. And again, I do apologize for my cameraman being a bit slow this morning. Oh, Andrew. Tut, tut, tut. There is obviously, of course, the possibility that Queen Karula has decided to head towards Gallagher or Vuyatela, the Djuma lodges. Knock, who's also a new viewer on Twitter, a very warm safari welcome, would like to know, what do we do when we need to use the bathroom on game drive? Well, we just jump out of the car and go have a tinkle against a tree. Unless, of course, your name is Andrew Francis and you're a cameraman who needs to tinkle about 25 times in 3 hours. And Andrew will never let me forget that the fact is occasionally we've made Andrew have what Andrew calls a danger pee. And that happens when we are in normally a big cat sighting and we can't leave in case those animals move, and we force the cameraman to pee off the back of the vehicle. Andrew, the first time I made Andrew do it, he complained incessantly. So literally he had no choice but to pee because he was going to burst. And that was with a male leopard called Tingana. And Andrew was worried that that said male leopard had ideas on his manhood. Of course, when he did pee, the leopard did not even raise its head. It didn't, Andrew. Andrew likes to tell everyone it did. It didn't. But it's a good story, Andrew. Don't worry. I'm sure the male leopard has far more pressing things to worry about than Andrew Francis's manhood. So we're chatting about hyena species a little bit earlier, and Shrub on Twitter would like to know what is the largest hyena species we get in Africa. Well, Shrub, it is the spotted hyena, by far the largest. The only other two hyena species are the striped and the brown. Both are quite a bit smaller and more retiring, and slightly and slightly less social, a different social structure than the spotted hyena. Okay, so no sign of Karola's tracks along here. So we will check her last position. As I said, there's a very, very small chance that she's actually there. More than likely, she has moved on since consuming her Christmas dinner. Carol on Twitter says, I must be careful, the cameramen have the ability to make me look very silly one day. Yes, but the cameramen know I will feed them to the lions if they do such a thing. But anyway, let's go see what Commander Bond is up to on the other vehicle.
We are just trying to find some kudu. Just off-road. There we go. There's a cow. There were three of them, but they are hiding from us, as you can see. This is how they survive, of course. It's by remaining as hidden as possible. She looks like she's grazing now. Of course, a kudu is not supposed to graze at all. And she isn't eating grass. She's eating little sort of herbaceous forbs. Walking very daintily forward. Very dainty things are kudu. Roughly the size, I suppose, of a large reindeer, if I'm not mistaken. I think a reindeer is roughly the same size as a kudu, probably slightly smaller. Let's go back a little bit and see if we can't get a nice view of her. Very secretive, very shy. To stay hidden behind the bush. Doing it extremely well. Look at those ears, like little radar dishes. A little chew on some combretum, bush willow. And there was another two actually that were knocking about here. But the other two wanted to be on camera even less than this one does. There she goes, she's gone behind us. Right, I think we're just about to arrive at Buffelshoek Dam. I'm still sort of on the eastern fringes here with my ear glued to the Game Drive channel, hoping that those dogs might come east. But as every minute passes, the likelihood of them coming this far with the pups again this morning diminishes rather exponentially, I'm afraid. What a a great start we had with them. I think the answer to your query is very simple. You want to know what could possibly top this after such an incredible start to the drive. Ginny, not much really. Wild dogs killing is pretty much the ultimate way to start, finish, and indeed middle a drive. So unless we find a pride of lions devouring a buffalo, or perhaps a leopard stalking a nyala, it's going to be very difficult to top what we saw just now. A very special experience that. And I mean, if we'd been 1 minute earlier, we would have seen them actually killing. Hello, Sean. You reckon that, well, your question is, was there a reason that they would have left one adult feed slightly more than the others? No, Sean. I don't think they did that necessarily on purpose. I think, they would have torn that impala apart, and then, each would have gone off with his own bit, eaten that, and then they would have torn the remainder up. So I think it was the coincidence that one got the biggest piece to start with, and then they would have shared that as well. Although they did seem to leave a small bit of the sort of, I think probably the spinal column, they seem to leave a bit there. Right, we are arriving at Buffelshoek Dam, which of course is not a dam anymore. They've gone south now. So we confirm they've gone south to Cheetah Plains.
West of Deutschwood Camp. Very close to Garrison Boundary.
They're still sort of going northwestish, so we're going to keep moving. There's nothing here at Buffelshoek Mud Wallow. The only sort of evidence of animals was a path cut by a hippo yesterday that we came past and saw. So I'm just going to keep going onto the northern boundary and then a little bit to the east, and maybe we'll get another glimpse of the dogs. I'm assuming from the reports on the radio and the fact that you're driving with me at the moment that Karula has moved, and I'm not surprised. I think by the end of the evening yesterday she'd had enough and she was going to move on. So full belly and very happy, no doubt. Siberia Zumi, you say you love kudu ears, and do I think that maybe they are used to pick up radio broadcasts or listen to rugby commentary or something like that? I'm sure they are. Enormous rugby fans, I've no doubt. I'm sure those ears are able to pick up all commentary in different languages. Popular one. Might be the greatest sport in the world, I'm just reports that they're coming this way. Copy that. Just over here, they're coming this way. All I can hear is the wind blowing there. I'm on my way to that junction. All I can hear is the wind blowing through his radio. I can't actually hear it. So that ridge crest at the end there is where we're going. to follow what's going on the radio. Waterbuck, we'll come back to them now. Snake track. To the top of this road is our boundary. James, keep them eyes peeled. Sorry about the bumping, everyone. Huge snake track going across the road there. Another one. That's 3 or 4 in the last few meters. A great herd of snakes. There's Aubrey. I think he's looking for their tracks. I must have been heading this way, everyone. This is very exciting. Heading this way. I'm just going to follow Aubrey because he's obviously got a tracker on the front of the vehicle, which means that they can spot the tracks much more easily. It says they were heading this way. Aê, Maya Kui. Okay. All right. Dayimala. Na driver gatsonga la. So Aubrey can drive in here. We're on Torchwood boundary again. So he's going to just carry. They were coming this way, and he's checked the northern boundary. They haven't crossed. He's now going to drive along that fire break, and we'll just check if they don't cross. And we'll just keep an eye on that. Looks like 2 buffalo up ahead. And they are much too large for the wild dogs to try and take. We're going to drive very slowly along here. Just watch into the bush to see those great big dish-like ears. Lovely white flashing tails come running out or not. Keep an eye behind us. Of course, you can also see this presenter monitor here, which sometimes when I've been driving a normal car, I look at thinking it's like a rear view mirror, and suddenly I see myself. Just look in there. Hello, Alyssa and Meza. I think that's where you come from. You want to know about, if I stop answering your questions just simply because I'm looking for the dogs. Alyssa, you want to know about guiding. You say you're doing a field guides course and by correspondence, and you want to know if it's a problem that you don't live in Africa. I don't know if you're doing it. Are you doing an African animal field guide course? If you are, I don't think it's a problem at all whether you do it anywhere in the world. Certainly if you want to ever use it or apply it, you're going to have to do it over here. But there's no reason you shouldn't learn to do it anywhere. And, sorry, I'm just listening to the radio.
What's the last doctor?
Just keep looking behind us.
I think
I think they're still in there, everyone. Of course, they could have crossed, so we'll just keep an eye on both sides of the road. What can you see, Tibbs?
An idea. Should I go that way or should I go around the dam, do you think?
So let's just keep an eye on both sides of the road. They could easily have crossed. Of course, they will change direction on a constant basis. So, Alyssa, I think carry on. Wonderful idea that you're doing a field guides course, and yes, you can certainly apply it to your local area. You can apply it to African areas, and if you're ever planning on coming and guiding out here, that's also possible, of course. Lots and lots of foreigners, or people not from South Africa, do guide in South Africa and all over Africa. Look in there, Tiff. Quickly look in there. Camera.
Morning stations. Can I get an update, please?
Let's just sit here for a little while and try and listen to what's going on.
Okay, in the Dutch, they weren't compliant. They're now on last resort to the area to ensure that we can get what we are
Can't see you here now. And you can hear the radio is going crazy at the moment.
Standing by. Good morning, I believe you had a
Looking up and down.
encounter and sight this morning around your...
I'm going to switch off here and we're going to have a listen. Let's see what's going on. We'll just see if we can't hear some Impala alarm calling. We might drive back up the to the north. There's certainly no sign of them here. Can't hear anything, and that's not unusual. Often what happens with these wild dogs, when they're chasing something, the animals don't alarm call, they just run. And it's completely unlike if they see a leopard or a lion or something, they will alarm call, and it just doesn't happen here. They just run at high speed. I'm just listening to the radio. All right, let's head back up this way. Let's head across to Brent, see what he's got at the moment. We'll keep driving up and down here and we'll see what we can find.
So we've checked the last position of Karula, and unfortunately she is not there. There is a little bit of meat left. I'm just doing a quick loop around the block that she was in, seeing if I can find any tracks. So I'm going very slowly, and at the moment so far only hyena and kudu tracks on the road.
Copy.
So now that she's finished that little Steenbok, it's a bit of a guessing game. I was hoping she had gone towards the water at Treehouse. She hadn't. Well, no tracks at least. We all know Karula can fly, because she is the queen of Djuma and also the queen of the Disappearing Act. That's hence the reason I'm moving at snail's pace and checking very, very carefully for tracks. Of course, Andrew has pointed out 3 different sets of hyena tracks. Going, leopard track. Oh, no, Andrew, there's a hyena. But jokes aside, fortunately, the majority of our cameramen, after spending so much time with us, can actually tell a leopard track from a hyena track. One would hope so. The fact that we spend 6 hours a day out in the bush looking for tracks, mostly. Definitely far more looking for tracks than actual animals. But finding the tracks often leads to finding the animal. Oh, Marilyn, who's in sunny California, hopefully a bit more sunny than we are, says it seems to her that Andrew and Ted spotted the animals far before the presenters. Put that thumb down, Andrew. In a lot of cases, one must remember the cameramen are much higher than we are, so they have an elevated position. But I will admit, this week, Tebs has spotted lots. Andrew, I don't think spotted anything. Andrew?
Few leopards, few wild dogs.
Oh, no, he's claiming. I actually have a little wager with most cameramen, and they get a little reward if they spot something before me. And I can definitely say on average I spot before the cameramen do. Andrew, I'm waiting for a rebuttal there.
That's not true.
Oh, and he lies through his teeth. So if the cameraman managed to spot a leopard before, or a lion before me, or a wild dog, they do get a little reward. The reward is I don't beat them senseless after drive. No, I'm only joking. They get a liquid reward from me. Andrew? What have I spotted? It could have been one of a few things. It could have been a white bird that just jumped through my field of vision. It could also, what I think most likely is a little flick of an impala's tail on the white I saw, but it's worth checking because it could also just be that white tip to a leopard's tail. I saw the movement of the animal. As I said, most likely it was the flick of an impala's tail, but I can't see. I just saw movement through there. And even those little chances are always worth following up on. Andrew, are you looking now? I did see something move through here. I wouldn't be driving this far off the road through this very bumpy country. Seen an impala yet actually makes me slightly more excited. Something moved just through this area here. There we go. What's that running there? That was not what I saw. There was a warthog that just disappeared in front of me. Warthog do not have white on them. Could even have been a little flick of a steenbok's tail. Valerie has got an excellent idea. I think, okay, Valerie, let's take you up on it right now. Come, Andrew. So Valerie thinks the camera operators and presenters should swap. So Andrew, off you go. Should we swap?
Negative, that's right.
Valerie, you have now put the cameraman in an absolute panic. He's gone bright red and his legs are shaking. He does not want to get in front of the camera. I'm offering. Andrew, please.
No.
Yes, Andrew, you also used to be a field guide.
I'm nervous now.
Andrew really doesn't want to get behind his camera. But I think that's an excellent idea, Valerie, that we should swap. See, the funny difference is that I also am a cameraman, and I've worked as a cameraman before, and whether it's our cameramen haven't presented too much, apart from when we force them to, like right now. Come, Andrew, let's go. Just go say hello to Valerie, Andrew. Off you go. Take your earmuffs off.
No.
So, there we go. That's Andrew's answer to presenting. So, Valerie, I did try, but no, Andrew has hidden himself behind a buff. Oh. Our cameramen are very special, but there's a reason we keep them behind the camera, as you saw. So unfortunately, I'm pretty sure, I think there was a little flick of a steenbok's tail. The fact that we saw warthog here means it probably wasn't Queen Karula. Now, let's get ourselves back towards the road. But Valerie, don't worry. James and I will have a discussion of how we can make that happen. And if any two people can, I'm pretty sure it's James and myself. I definitely think when we go back to James, we should ask Valerie's question. I'll encourage Valerie's question again and see what Tebs does, whether he has the general standard cameraman response, which what you saw from Andrew. As soon as you try to put a camera near him, he tries to hide like a dwarf mongoose going down a barrow. Alyssa says she doesn't think Andrew trusts me with his camera. Well, unfortunately for Andrew, he doesn't actually have a choice in the matter. She also thinks Andrew is adorable. Andrew, how's this December you have been called a cutie patootie and adorable. You must be feeling very special, Andrew. He did this behind the camera. Jay has sent us an email. Is it true that the cameramen are only hired if they cannot outrun the presenters? No, it is not true, but generally cameramen are not the fittest creatures in the world. Apart from Jean-Jacques, he's an exception to the rule. But again, he is quite slow. Actually, I don't think there's a cameraman that can outrun Scott, James, or myself. Andrew thinks he can, he's pointing at himself. But after gracing the touch rugby field with Andrew a few times, I can, as much as Andrew will disagree, I can guarantee you he cannot outrun me. I know what to do, Andrew. Let's have a race. In front of camera, where everyone can watch. The finish line will be the vehicle. We will start further on. Come, Andrew. Let's go. And I'll keep my radio on, and I'm going to take my shoes off if we're racing. So, and we've even got a perfect track here. We've got 2 tracks. Andrew's setting up the shot. How far should it be from Andrew?
As far as you like, Ray. I got this one in the bag.
Andrew says he's got this one in the bag. I doubt it. Look at it warming up. Okay. Let's see. Put the mic in my top pocket, otherwise it's going to fall down. Okay. Let's go a little further. I don't have enough time to build up speed. So hopefully you are still getting audio, because I do have a lapel mic. Let me stretch. Are you ready, Andrew? Let me clip all my cables. So Louise in final control is going to count us down. Okay, take your marks, Andrew. And go! Oh, there goes my radio. There we go. Point proven. Andrew Francis is not faster than I am.
Your shoes are off though.
Oh, now I see the excuses already flowing. Put my shoes back on. Well, you can't run in sandals now, I mean, honestly. Okay. Well, at least that argument is settled. Unfortunately, there wasn't a lion around, because one of the most important rules in the bush is don't run. But we did do it in a nice open area. We should test this theory further and get James and Tebs in on the race action. A big thank you to Valerie, and she's thanking us, we're thanking you. Valerie, you gave us an opportunity to do some exercise while on game drive, so a big thank you to you. And Valerie says we've made her night. Well, Valerie, you've made our morning. So, no tracks of the Queen so far. Shamrock said our incredible speed has woken, well, I made that one up, but Shamrock says we've woken the dogs up. I know it's because I was like a lightning bolt going past Andrew Francis. Let me just say that again. Going past Andrew Francis. I think next thing we'll have to do is an arm wrestle.
Oh.
Apparently a buffalo ran across the road behind, I would believe, but there were no tracks. So let's go have a look what James is up to. We're going to keep circling this block that Karula was in, but James has got a relatively smelly antelope.
I'm guessing that if Karula is anywhere near the antics going on that vehicle, she's either rolling about the floor laughing or has decided to depart the area at a great speed. because that sounds like loony bin stuff going on there. Wonderful, brilliant. Here we are with some waterbuck, a large group of cows, and still in the vicinity where we saw the wild dogs earlier, and hoping maybe that they'll come back. But in the meantime, it's not looking good, to be honest. I think they've probably gone to ground, killed something with the pups, and I think they're now relaxing inside Torchwood in the shelter or lee of a nice thicket, because it is pretty chilly out here and the wind is quite strong. So that's beautiful waterbuck cows, and as Brent says, they are quite smelly. They smell of sort of musk, like a very strong smelling horse, if you like. And just chewing their cud. Now, they're called waterbuck because they're supposed to be running into water when they get terrified of things. And these ones, well, you know, I've actually never seen them do that. So, and I've very seldom actually seen them around water at Djuma. So I'm not convinced how necessary water, other than for drinking, is for waterbuck. But certainly those furry coats would indicate that they need to stay warm more than most. But I can't imagine why that would be the case. They're quite mysterious in that way. And there you can see two things. Firstly, why they've got that white marking on the backside. Obviously, a nice, easy way for them to follow each other through the bush. And secondly, how brilliantly camouflaged they are. That grey colour, if you want to really hide out here, that grey colour is a brilliant colour to be. Right. We are going to do one last foray up the cheetah cut line, up to our eastern boundary, and see if the dogs haven't perhaps come across. Until then, thereafter, I think we'll head to the hyena den and see what's going on. I don't think I'm going to race Tebs up the road.
Can you give us a message? Can't copy anything.
Julia Smith, you say yesterday Teb spotted a moving white shell, and I never confirmed what it was. It was a tortoise, and it looked white because of the way the light was shining on it. So it was very kind of shiny, but it was a living leopard tortoise. And when we got up close, we realized it wasn't white. It was quite a pale one, but it certainly wasn't white. That's what it was. Teb's spotting scopes have been working overtime of late, seeing amazing things. So this is where we spotted them early this morning. That's where they ate the first impala, and they went trotting off to the east there, into the middle of the picture, and then up north they found the puppies apparently, and then they were running up and down, and they regurgitated a whole lot of food for them. This is what we heard from the other people who were in the sighting, and then they started moving towards this way, and they haven't come across the cut line again yet. So we'll do one last drive up here, and then will be it, I'm afraid. But a wonderful experience we've had with them already. Just drive very slowly, see if the tracks don't come across, and see what else there is on this road here. Stop and have a listen every so often. There's an impala. Oh, she's on her own. I wonder if it isn't her that's just lost her little youngster. Does look fairly depressed and on her own. I say she looks depressed. You can't tell what an impala is feeling from its face because of course they don't have very expressive faces. They don't have anything like the muscles in their faces that we do. But odd that she's on her own. And if wild dogs have been through an area, what they will do is split up the herds completely, and so you find these odd situations where there's, you know, one female on her own or one male on her own, or babies separated from mothers. I hope it's not her that's lost her baby. While we answer this very salient question from Cindy in Long Island, we'll just keep going up the road here slowly. Cindy, you want to know if animals out here ever mourn their dead? Yes, absolutely they do. We think that elephants mourn their dead, and you indicated that you thought they might. Yeah, we think they do. Obviously, we can't tell what senses of emotion that they are feeling. Is it sadness? Is it longing? What is it? But we know that elephants will come, and I've certainly seen it myself, where they will come towards the carcass of an old, a fallen comrade, if you like, put the bones on their heads, and they'll return to the same place 2 or 3 times before moving off and leaving the bones to themselves. And I mean, some will tell you that that's just, you know, that they pick things up anyway, and they pick up bones, and sometimes, you know, it's just purely coincidental. And others will tell you that it definitely looks like mourning. To me, it looks like mourning. I think that the days of us saying that animals don't have emotion are thankfully coming to an end. I think it's patently obvious that they do feel something. Of course, the only way for us to describe what they're feeling is to use our own expressions of feeling. So, you know, love or sadness or joy. I don't know. Do impala mourn their young? We don't know. We have no way of knowing. They don't make a wailing sound of sadness. Like I say, their faces are totally unexpressive. The only thing they can move are their ears, and so, you know, they can't sort of smile or frown or look miserable or look happy. And so it's very difficult to tell whether they are, you know, what they're feeling. Lions and leopards, I mean, we know when they're angry, certainly. That anger is very easy for them to show. And if you've got a dog or a cat at home, you know when they're angry, and they certainly, a dog can show joy. So yeah, I think they do show emotion. Do they mourn? Who knows? Probably. I suppose if you're a biologist, you need to ask yourself the question, what evolutionary advantage would there be to mourning? Charlotte, you're in Port Elizabeth. It's just near where my parents live. They live in Kenton, Charlotte. Hello and good morning to you. I hope you're enjoying the holiday season down there on the coast. Charlotte, you want to know whether how it's possible that these wild dogs transport the meat. Do they have an extra stomach and then for vomiting up to feed their pups? No, Charlotte, it's as you pointed out. Secondly, you said, do they just vomit on demand? That's precisely what they do. They vomit on demand. So when the cubs beg, they'll nip at the lips of the adults. Sorry, the pups, not the cubs. They'll nip at the lips of the adults, and the adults will then regurgitate food for them. It's quite an astonishing thing to be able to do. And just getting back to that thing, the discussion on emotion. In what way or what evolutionary advantage could there possibly be to mourning? Well, I mean, if we look at our own species, the evolutionary advantage, I suppose, to mourning would be a sense of need to protect. and a sense of belonging. You know, if you feel a sense of, or maybe a throwback to it, if you feel a sense of attachment to another person, you will help them and you will protect them. So maybe in species where there is that kind of egalitarian helping of one another, maybe mourning is a throwback to that. I don't know. It's certainly a fascinating subject and a very heated one. I often get very amused by the kind of definite answers that people give to what they think animals can and cannot do and can and cannot feel, when we have no idea really. I mean, we're really just guessing. So nothing else coming across this road at the moment. Whether or not those dogs are going to go to sleep up in Torture, I'm not sure. I think it's probably quite likely. A race between Brent and some wild dogs would be an interesting one. I think the dogs would win. Brent would probably tell you otherwise, but I think the dogs would probably win. Quite a chilly morning too, probably only about 20 degrees Celsius I think was the temperature, which is 67 degrees Fahrenheit, and that's quite chilly for this time of year. I'm not vaguely upset about it though, given that obviously it's been so very, very hot. Just walking past an anti-poaching unit here. May on Twitter want to know if I would be able to beat Brent on a race. Just hold on here. Aye. Ja, fokile kuna. Uti bonile. Ti minkombe. Ja, kuna trilla. Mare one it's over gile. Ja. I'm sure you nenge. It's over inenge. Ja. Okay. That's the anti-poaching unit, and they're on foot, obviously patrolling. Highly necessary in any game area, of course, especially these days with the scourge of rhino poaching. The Sabi Sand seems mercifully to have got under control. So we're just getting a little update from them on their life, how it's going. They say everything's okay, which is good. So back to would I beat Brent in a race? I've no doubt that Brent would answer that question with an absolute negative. There would be no chance on earth that I would beat Brent in a race. I'm not sure. When we used to play touch rugby, I used to manage to outstrip him. That was a little while ago. Whether my aging bones would still be able to do it, I'm not sure. Quite nervous that I'll see him again on drive. I think I'm going to have to try and avoid him, because there's no way he'll let me get away with a comment like that. No, Louise, you will not be giving any of my GPS coordinates. Just telling Louise to maintain my private location. So Ravi, we're just chatting about that evolutionary advantage perhaps that there may or may not be to mourning, and I think it's probably got to do, if there is one, it's probably I use the term throwback, that's the wrong term. It's probably a kind of a result of group interactions and species that survive because they're in groups. Lots of the primates, elephants of course, will feel a sadness when a member of the group, or what we define as sadness, when a member of the group disappears, because they feel an attachment, they feel a kinship with other members of the group, and without without that some kind of sense of attachment or love, the group wouldn't be as cohesive. And perhaps then the mourning, the sadness that goes with when a group member is no longer with the group, perhaps that mourning or sense of sadness is a byproduct of the sense of emotional attachment. So that's the only way I can think of it. It probably solidifies emotional bonds within a group and keeps the bond more solid. That's what I think. I might be completely wrong. It might have nothing to do with that at all. That would make sense to me. It's like the emotion of jealousy. And, we're talking about it as the emotion of jealousy is not just simply a random emotion. It's an emotion that comes about in animals where there is a fair amount of unfaithfulness. And so in human beings, while we are nominally monogamous, certainly we all know that there are philanderers of both men and women, and that the reaction of jealousy that we all feel is an evolutionary response to making sure that kind of philandering doesn't happen. Well, I mean, it does happen, of course, but it's a response to try and stop it happening too much. And I'm sure the same occurs in animals. Certainly it happens in the other primates. So lots of emotions have got evolutionary reasons and responses and needs for being. Fascinating discussion. Thank you, Randy. Right, we're giving up on the dogs. Let's go and have a look at the hyena den. So, another great question from Sharon. You're talking about play behavior in mammals and why they do it, and do you think they just do it for fun? I think that a baby impala plays because it feels fun to do that. The question is not so much do they do it for fun. I've no doubt they do it for fun. But why do they have that response? Why are they driven to play for fun? And they're driven to play for fun because that play behavior is extremely important in solidifying the neural pathways in their nervous systems. It's extremely important for developing coordination, developing muscle mass and muscle strength. Before we carry on with this, I'm just going to show you. As I was driving along this road at 100 miles an hour earlier on, I said there were some snake tracks. You can see them on the road there. See them there, Tibbs? There are the snake tracks. And this is a big snake. I would say from its sort of sluggish movement, it's probably a puff adder. But it is a puff adder it can move reticulated like that, sideways, and it can move sort of just inch along. So I'm not sure what that was, but it was a large snake, a fat one. It may have been a mamba, of course. I've gone into that termite mound. Mamba. Right, so the play behavior, here it is again. It looks like it's come along here and moved back across the road. Big slung, that one. Maybe a python even. So, just to reiterate, so we've got, animals playing. You say, Sharon, you saw some adults joining in the fun. I've no doubt that's a throwback. It's the same as adults enjoy playing every so often. It's good for us as adult human beings to play every so often to keep our joints loose and keep the muscles going. And I've no doubt the adults do the same. I think it's a throwback, of course, to being a child and being a young impala, and they are definitely doing it for fun. They are not thinking, I need to have a run around to keep fit and to keep strong, and the babies are certainly not thinking, I need to develop my neural pathways. They're just feeling the sense of joy. The question is, why are they feeling that sense of joy? What's driving them to do it? And that's an evolutionary response, I believe, to this need to, solidify solidify the neural pathways and the muscles and that sort of thing. Wonderful. Thank you for your question, Sharon. Brilliant stuff. And of course, young human beings in Stone Ages or, way back,